Hello everyone and welcome to NLP Metaprograms, episode 17, Emotional Stress Response. This is a very important metaprogram, particularly in businesses, particularly if that business is going through a lot of change or there's a lot of stress within the employees of the business in general or the particular team that you're wanting to build or recruit for. This is how someone will respond to stressful situations in business, if not in general. And we've got a number of different choices. The question that we ask is, tell me about the single most troublesome and most stressful situation that you've ever experienced in business. Tell me about the single most troublesome and stressful experience or situation that you've experienced in business. Now, what we've got to look for here is we're looking more from a physiological point of view than what they actually say. And particularly, we're looking at eye patterns. So here's the standard classic NLP eye accessing pattern chart. This, as you know, if you've come across eye patterns before, which is part of the practitioner training, this is drawn as we look at the person. And this is for somebody that we would call normally organized. Most people have normally organized eye accessing patterns. A few, typically left-handed people, are what we call reverse organized, which is where all of these internal representations are on this side and all of these internal representations are on this side. So when we're eliciting this metaprogram, we need to know whether the person is normally or reverse organized. Tip-offs for that, because we wouldn't be able to do a full kind of like eye accessing pattern elicitation to be able to do this conversationally and covertly. Most right-handed people are normally organized. Also, a good generalization, when a generalization works more than 50% of the time, I would say it's a useful generalization, is that most people that are normally organized wear their watch on their left wrist. Yeah? Because we tell the time, which is an auditory digital process. Okay, so let me just explain this for those of you that this might be new to. When somebody somebody who's normally organized, moves their eyes up to their left, then they are remembering visual images. When they move their eyes just straight horizontally to their left, then they are remembering sounds. When they look down to their left, then they're talking to themselves, or an internal dialogue, which we call in NLP auditory digital. If they move their eyes up to their right, then they're constructing visual images. If they move their eyes just horizontally over to their right, then they're constructing sounds. And if they move their eyes down to the right, then they are in kinesthetic, they're feeling feelings. So this is what we're looking for. If the person, when you say, tell me about the most stressful, most troublesome situation you've ever experienced in business, and their eyes go everywhere, but not into kinesthetic, then the person is thinking, or what we would actually call probably dissociated. They're dissociated from their kinesthetics. If when we ask the question, tell me about the most troublesome, most stressful situation that you've ever experienced in business, and they go and move their eyes down into kinesthetic, you see the kinesthetic physiology, their breathing would move from high up here to down here, their voice would get slower, their voice would get lower pitched, and their eyes go into kinesthetic and they stay there, then they are feeling, or they're fully associated in the kinesthetics. If when we ask them the question, tell me about the single most troublesome and stressful situation that you've experienced in business, and their eyes go into kinesthetic, and then they come out of kinesthetic and go elsewhere, then what we're saying is the person has choice. Okay? So let's talk about what we can interpret from that as far as the person's behavior in stressful situations in business. The person who is thinking from a Metaprograms profile finds it easy to deal with stressful situations because they just do not get into the emotions or the kinesthetic of the stressful situation. So they find it easy to deal with that personally. However, if they were managing a team in a stressful situation and there were people in that team that were feeling, the people who had the feeling profile in the team would find a manager that was thinking rather cold or possibly aloof or disconnected. Now, the person who has this feeling profile, as in they go into kinesthetic and they stay there, don't find it easy to deal with stressful situations. They get fully associated into the emotions of the event, of the situation, and they get stuck there. So, for instance, if we had a team that were dealing with a stressful situation in a business at this particular point in time, and we put in a manager who was feeling, they're not going to cope with that. They're going to get stuck in the emotions. Also, people in the team who were more thinking profile would tend to find a manager who was feeling too overly emotional. So if you've got a team that are going through a troublesome, stressful situation, and we were looking to recruit or put somebody in a management position of that team, then ideally what we want is somebody with a profile of choice for the emotional stress response. As in, they get in touch with the emotions, so they can identify, if you like, with the other people in the team who are feeling those emotions, so they know what it's like for those people. But what they can do is they bring themselves out, they dissociate from the feelings, and then they can actually manage the team well. So they'll have good rapport with both people with a thinking profile and a feeling profile, and they can bring themselves out to be in a good resourceful state to do what they need to do. We've talked a little bit about how we might assist people in changing their metaprogram. If we had somebody who was more feeling and it was a problem for them, that's more than likely due to unresolved negative emotions in their past. So if they were to release those negative emotions using timeline therapy, then they will move to either being more thinking or move to choice. If we've got somebody who is thinking and that's causing a problem, then what that person is kind of dissociated from their emotions. So again, what we can do from an NLP point of view is teach the person who's got a thinking profile how to associate into their feelings and then dissociate from those feelings. Then what we'll have done is assist them in changing their metaprogram profile to choice. The only time where that wouldn't work is if the person with the thinking profile has a belief that it's not good or it's not okay to get in touch with your emotions. If that was a situation, then we're going to have to do something more like a breakthrough session to assist them in changing that belief. Because that belief in that context, in that situation, is a limiting belief. And we can then assist them in changing that. Great thing about this, as we say, is this gives us some really useful information to enable us to predict accurately how somebody is going to find certain situations in business, how they're going to respond to it, how they're going to experience it, so we can put the right person in the right situation. And also, ultimately, we have the technology, we have the ability, if the person wants to assist them in changing their metaprogram profile. Great, so I hope that was useful for you. Just a quick quite a quick one this week, though I think a really important, a really useful one. So again, we'll see you next week for episode 18 of NLP Metaprograms. Have a fantastic week.